Good evening, Cement Shoes. How are you doing this evening? And yes, you are first. Tonight's subject is general true crime trivia from around the world. Some in the UK, some in the United States, some in other parts of the world, but it's all true crime. See, I've got first one's in France, next one's in North Dakota. Yeah, they're all over the place. So, doing well. Thanks for asking. Hope you're well. I'm doing great. Great. Let's see here. Hi, Victoria. Welcome to the stream. Hope you had a great weekend, Victoria. But there's a total of 30 questions for tonight's trivia. S. Brook happened to catch this live. Hi, folks. Hello, S. Brooks. Welcome to the stream. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Victoria did. Thank you. Good. Hello, Sunshine. Welcome to the stream. Hello, Sunshine. Hey, Brooks. Welcome to the stream, Brooks. Did you have a great weekend? Hope so. So tonight's trivia is general crime trivia. There are 30 questions total. So hope you all have on your thinking caps for tonight, so we can see how many of these you can get. Every one of the questions is either A, B, C, or D. 4 possible choices to each and every one of the 30 questions. The SARS. Oh, I am. The Sarah Sky. 12 p.m. Monday here in Australia. Welcome. The Sarah Sky. I hope you had a great weekend. Thank God it's multiple choice. Yeah. It reminds me of the Bright Side channel. I've never seen the Bright Side channel. It's so thrilling in lockdown. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Lockdown is not fun. Where I live, it looks like all but 2 counties are going to move to the next stage. Not my county. My county is going to stay right where we are because COVID rates are going up, hospitalizations are going up still. So we're going to stay right here. You got my name right. Well, that's cool. I'm glad I got it right. I had to put my glasses on to look at it because of the I don't know how it looks to you guys on your end, but the contrast between the green for channel members and then the black for the regular names, those who are not channel members, it's kind of hard sometimes to actually read them. I can and then when it has like the time and everything else, it's like a different font. At least on my end, it's it's not a bold font. We're back to phase 1 down here in Western Canada. Just crap. Hello, sunshine. Well, where I am, we are in stage 2, and everybody else around us in other counties are moving to stage 3. So doesn't look like we're going to be going anywhere anytime soon. So it sucks. Give it a couple more minutes here, and then we're going to start trivia, because otherwise we'll be here all night with 30 questions. I've got a lot more than 30. I just finally I drew a point where I was like, all right, 31, 2, 3, 4. And I've got another 5 pages I could do. as I come across them, I research them, then I write them down, and then then I make up I write down the answer, and then mark it, so I know I can see the answer. But well, welcome to the channel membership, S. Brooks. So one of the benefits, S. Brooks, is if you go to the community tab, there are I post a community in the community tab, you'll see posts that are just for members, and you should be able to find a link there to, I think there's 170 videos now that I've made just for the for channel members. So nobody else gets to watch them but the channel members. But welcome. Let's see here. Brian James, New York is doing well. Welcome to the stream, Brian. Mr. Frosty. Hello, Mr. Frosty. Mr. Frosty. Or should I say, Vaughn. Colleen Ellis, welcome. Good evening, Colleen. I hope you had a great weekend. All right. So let's go ahead and jump right into it, ladies and gentlemen. The first question, we're going all the way over to Paris, France. In 1978, a grocer in Paris, France, was sentenced to 2 years in prison for stabbing his wife with what during an argument? A knife. B, a wedge of hard cheese. C, a Lord of the Rings sword. Or D, a hard plastic comb. In 1978, a grocer in Paris, France, was sentenced to 2 years in prison for stabbing his wife during an argument with what? A knife, a wedge of hard cheese, a Lord of the Rings sword, or a hard plastic comb. Hi, Pamela. Hope you had a great weekend, Pamela. Salty, welcome. Alley Cat, welcome. Hope you all had a great weekend. Welcome to the stream. Playing True Crime Trivia tonight. There are 30 questions total. Every question is multiple choice, A, B, C, or D. Totally guessed. Pamela's going with Lord of the Rings sword. I Rage, welcome to the stream. How are you doing? I hope you had a great weekend, iRage. Just rolling with it. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. Short nice. Good evening. Welcome to the stream. I hope you both had a great weekend. And if I've missed anybody, I'm really sorry. I'll eventually catch you. I'm sure of it. So the first question: in 1978, a grocer in Paris, France, was sentenced to 2 years in prison for stabbing his wife during an argument with what? A knife, B, a wedge of hard cheese, C, a Lord of the Rings sword, or D, a hard plastic comb. Puff, puff, pass. Puff, puff, pass. Good day. How's it go? How goes it? Pretty good, puff, puff, pass. Pretty good. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. All right. So the answer to in 1978, a grocer in Paris, France, was sentenced to 2 years in prison for stabbing his wife during an argument with what? The correct answer is B as in boy, a wedge of hard cheese. It was the fourth incident where he stabbed her with something, and this time he stabbed her with a wedge of hard cheese. Yeah. I missed a year. So maybe it was a hard comb. Pamela, it was 1978, and the correct answer is a wedge of hard cheese. It was the fourth attack where he stabbed her with something during an argument, and they finally sentenced him to 2 years in prison after that. The most recent attack doesn't say if he did anything afterwards. Hi, Chatterbox. Welcome to the stream. I hope you had a great weekend, sweetheart. All right, so the next question. We're going to North Dakota. North Dakota, in case you're not familiar with it, is a state here in the United States. In Fargo, North Dakota, to be exact, in the United States, you can be jailed up to 1 year in prison, not jail, prison. In Fargo, North Dakota, you can be prisoned for up to 1 year for which of the following? A, standing up a blind date. B, forgetting your wedding anniversary. C, dancing with your hat on. Or D, attempting to tip a cow in cow tipping. You live in Georgia, Richie? You live in North Dakota? Well, maybe you'll have the answer to this one. In Fargo, North Dakota, you can be jailed up to 1 year in prison, not jail, for either A, standing up a blind date, B, forgetting your wedding anniversary, C, dancing with a hat on, or D, attempted cow tipping, tipping a cow over, cow tipping. We got D, D, C, D, 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 cow tipping, D, D. I do cow tipping, LOL. Puff, puff, pass. Short nights. Every one of the questions has 4 options tonight: A, B, C, or D. 4 options. Every single question. Cow tipping should be illegal. That's just so mean. Also, get rid of the criminal partner in a wood chipper. Oh, you're thinking of Fargo, the movie. Great movie, by the way. Kind of makes fun of the people from Minnesota and Fargo, but it's a great movie though. I think I've seen it a couple of times. The interesting thing about that is the Coen brothers, when they filmed that movie, it was supposed to be Fargo on that road after he got shot in the face when he went to go bury the money in the snow. It was an unseasonably warm winter, that year, so there wasn't enough snow on the ground. So a lot of that snow is actually potato flakes for the outdoor shots where he buried the money. He wasn't digging into the snow; he was digging into potato flakes. I always remember like the little tiny trivia things about that movie for some reason, things that nobody else would care to remember, but I do. But anyways, back to this trivia question. Fargo, North Dakota, USA. You can be jailed up to 1 year in prison for which? A, standing up a blind date. B, forgetting your wedding anniversary. Or C, dancing with a hat on. Or D, attempted cow tipping or cow tipping. Didn't people die in real life to find the treasure in Fargo? I don't know, Brian. I don't know about any real treasure in Fargo. Is there supposed to be treasure in Fargo? Are we talking about like national treasure? Something like that? I don't know. He's fleeing the interview. Gotta tell my mom about that. We both love that movie. Coen brothers do an excellent job with their movies. Absolutely. Diana, welcome to the stream, Diana. I hope you had a great weekend. So quickly for Diana, we're playing true crime trivia tonight. The second question, we're in question number 2. But this one is Fargo, North Dakota, USA. You can be jailed up to 1 year in prison, not county jail, for which of the following? A, standing up a blind date. B, forgetting your wedding anniversary. C, dancing with your hat on. Or D, cow tipping. Judy, welcome, Judy. I hope you had a great weekend. Hi, Mary. Welcome to the stream, Mary. Love the Coen brothers. Just noticed I'm drinking my coffee from my 401 mug. There you go. I'm drinking water from it's Seattle Seahawks player Dwayne Brown, offensive tackle. I never look at the cups. I've had this cup for probably 4 years, 3 years, somewhere there. I don't even know if he's with the Seahawks anymore. I never look at him. It was one of those Slurpee mugs, you get at 7-Eleven. But you can use them over and over and over and over again. I pick C because it sounds silly. Good to see you. It's good to see you too, Judy. All right, the correct answer for in Fargo, North Dakota, USA, you can be jailed up to 1 year in prison for what? The correct answer is C. C as in cat, with dancing with your hat on. It has been on the books. It's called a blue law in Fargo, North Dakota, and it has been on the books since 1899. 1899. It's been on the books. You cannot dance with your hat on in Fargo or North Dakota. So if you're going to dance in Fargo, North Dakota, take off your hat. You got it right. First time, so my second answer don't count. Well, no dancing with your hat on, Diana. Nope, can't dance with your hat on in Fargo, North Dakota. I don't know if they actually, still use the law. A lot of old blue laws, they just, they're on the books because it costs too much money to take them off the books. So they may have written another law that says they can't enforce the old law, but it's still there. All right. Well, this one we're going around the world for the next question. What country was the first country to abolish the death penalty in exchange for hard labor and life imprisonment in 1826? Again, what country was the first country to abolish the death penalty in exchange for hard labor and life imprisonment in 1826? The options are the Soviet Union, USSR, whichever you prefer. Greenland is B. C is Mexico, or D, Canada. I suck running at zero. I'm sorry. Over the cheese weapon. Yeah. I guess sometimes people just pick up whatever it's handy next to them. Luckily, there wasn't a cheese knife next to them. Repeat. What country was the first to abolish the death penalty in exchange for hard labor and life imprisonment in 1826? A, the Soviet Union, or USSR, whichever, Russia, whichever one of those you prefer to call them. B, Greenland. C, Mexico. Or D, Canada. What country was the first to abolish the death penalty in 1826? Mexico, Russia, Canada, Greenland. Hi, Lisa. Cheese grater would be a good weapon if you're attacked in a deli. Puff Puff Pass is going with B. Oh, that's okay, Lisa. We're only on the third question. Judy's going with C, Brooke, Greenland. What country was the first country to abolish the death penalty in exchange for hard labor and imprisonment for life? Soviet Union, USSR, Russia, whichever you prefer to call them. B, Greenland. C, Mexico, or D, Canada? Russia, USSR, Soviet Union, they all have the mighty tundra. They need to work them criminals. Hello, sunshine is. I guess that's your answer. Is Russia, USSR? You know, I'm still not sure which one it is. I think they prefer to be called referred to as Russia because there's the former Soviet Union. That would be like speaking of the former country before the Baltic states and stuff like that split off. But so I think that I think Russia would be the correct term. I don't know how old these trivia questions actually came from the book that I got them out of. Going with Russia. Easily distracted. Welcome to the stream. I hope you had a wonderful weekend, easily distracted. So we are on the third trivia question. Third out of 30. What country was the first country to abolish the death penalty in exchange for hard labor and life imprisonment? A, the Soviet Union, or Russia, whichever you prefer. Greenland, B, C, Mexico, or D, Canada? Hi, Jeannie. Welcome to the stream. I hope you had a wonderful weekend, Jeannie. Mr. Frosty says, not Russia. They kill citizens. Patricia, the question is, what country was the first country to abolish the death penalty in exchange for hard labor and life imprisonment? A, the Soviet Union, USSR, Russia, whichever you prefer to call, refer to them as. B, Greenland. C, Mexico. Or D, Canada? Which one was the first to abolish the death penalty? Chicolato. Brian James had never heard of violence in Greenland. Where was it? I was just reading something about one of those countries. I think it's the Netherlands. It's the Netherlands. I was just reading about. In the Netherlands, electric cars now outsell gas-powered new cars 2-1. Electric cars now outsell gas-powered cars there. They have a thing that by 2025 they're not going to sell gas-powered cars in the Netherlands. That's a completely separate thing. You're going with Canada, Jeannie? Okay. The correct answer to this one is, what country was the first country to abolish the death penalty in exchange for hard labor and life imprisonment? The correct answer is A, the Soviet Union, or Russia, USSR. They were the first ones to abolish the death penalty in 1826. But they have unsanctioned capital punishment for prisoners. And last year, that they did the poll in 2019, that they took the actual statistics in 2019, they had over 8,000 inmates who died, and they don't list what their cause of death is. 8,000 prisoners died. But they were the first ones, 1826. But they still have capital crime. It's just not sanctioned by the government. So if you go to, what was it, Black Rudolph, or no, Black Dolphin prison. Good luck. You want to die to get the hell out of there. No, they don't play around, and people just disappear. You might be in prison for a crime, and there may not be death penalty, but like those 8,000 prisoners, something happened to them. We don't know. They don't list when an inmate dies in prison. It can be from old age. Maybe they got sick and died. Maybe somebody stabbed them and killed them, or whatever, or a guard shot them. They just don't tell you how they died. They're just dead. Doesn't matter how they died, and that's what they just don't put it on a death certificate or any kind of paperwork of how the inmate died. But over 8,000 died, and they just didn't list them, on the last statistics in 2019. They should do that to Watts. Okay. The next one. In what country did 180 inmates die from unknown causes in a 1 year span? 1 year span, 2005 to 2006. What country? Ugh. I can speak. I really can. Let me try that again. In what country did 180 inmates die from unknown causes in 2005 to 2006? A, the United States, B, Mexico, C, Ireland, or D, the Sudan? In what country did 180 inmates die of unknown causes in that 1 year span? 2005 to 2006. Worst that prisons ever in North Korea. They experiment on the Menji. Yeah, is that how do you pronounce that? Mengel? I read about the persecution in Korea against those who are Islamic. That's just fucking cruel. And then they take their kids away from them and they put them in forced re-education camps. It's just sick. Jeannie is going with U.S., Mexico, D, B. Where is the Sudan? Africa? I think. I suck at geography. I get lucky if I could name half of the capitals of the United States. But just I have way too much other information in my head to try to remember them. I mean, if I had to do a geography test for 5th grade, geography quiz, I'd probably fail it now. Puff Puff Pass is going with A, Africa. In what country did 180 inmates die of unknown causes? 2005 to 2006. But that's one of the interesting side notes, though. When it comes to prison populations, you'd be surprised just how little statistics they actually keep when it comes to how people die. Apparently, if you're in the state of Mississippi, though, you're more likely to die of a blood disease in prison than you are of other any other types of causes of death, except for cancer and murder. But blood diseases is the highest one in the state of Mississippi. Georgia Ritchie, repeat the options again. In what country did 180 inmates die of unknown causes in the years 2005 to 2006? The options are A, the United States, B, Mexico, C, Ireland, or D, the Sudan? You know, when they execute someone, the cause of death is listed as homicide? And I did not know that. I'm still here. Just because you can't see me doesn't mean that I'm not here. I'm here. You can't guess this one, Brooke? I mean, just A, B, C, or D. It's one of those four. Cheese. There, see, Georgia Richie's got a guess. She's guessing cheese. That's a good one. Georgia Richie, you have 0 right. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, there's a lot more left to go. We're only on the 4th question. We got 26 more to go. I'm sure you're going to get some of these. Some of these are more based in more popular culture than some of these other ones. All right. In what country did 180 inmates die of unknown causes in the year 2005, 2006? The correct answer is A, the United States. So this next question is from around the world. What is the second most committed international crime taking place over 1,000 times every year? Read the question again. What is the second most committed international crime taking place over 1,000 times every year? The options are A, murder, B, sexual exploitation, C, art theft or antiquities theft, same thing, D, social welfare fraud. You feel uneducated? Don't worry about it, Georgia. You'll come around. Some of these we're getting to some really easier ones here. I got faith in you. I mean, you got 4 options, multiple choice. What is the second most committed international crime taking place over 1,000 times every year? A, murder, B, sexual exploitation, C, art antiquities theft, or D, social welfare fraud theft. And keep in mind, the first part of it is this is the second most committed, not the number 1 most committed, but the second most committed international crime taking place over 1,000 times every year. International. I got answers all over the board right now. Got a lot of fraud, D, fraud, fraud. B is sexual exploitation. C, art theft. D, social welfare theft. Get a little bit of everything. I think we have our bases covered on all the guesses. Or maybe you know the answer. What is the second most committed international crime taking place over 1,000 times every year? The correct answer is C, art theft, antiquities theft. Takes place over 1,000 times a year. And for everybody that guessed social welfare fraud, that is number one. We were looking for the answer for the number 2 most committed international crime. But art theft, antiquities theft. Yeah, you got it. All right. So the next one, we're staying right here in America. What is the second most committed crime in the United States every year? Second most committed crime in the United States every year. The correct, well, not I was going to give you the correct answer right off the bat. How about I give you the choices first? A, embezzlement. B, shoplifting. C, drunk driving. Or D, speeding. What is the second most committed crime in the United States of America every year? A, embezzlement. B, shoplifting. C, drunk driving. Or D, speeding. Yeah, I bet tax fraud's going to be up there, Mary. I'm pretty sure it's going to be. That Stephanie Lurs is off the off the case now. Is she? Is she off the case? Don't cheat off me. I haven't got one yet. Hi, Rykart. Welcome to the stream, Rykart. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. So the question again is, what is the second most committed crime in the United States of America every year? A, embezzlement. B, shoplifting. C, drunk driving. Or D, speeding. What is the second most committed? I just have to guess out on them all. I seem to know nothing. You never know, Lisa. There's a lot of questions left. You could hit a whole bunch of these in a row and knock them out of the park. You never know. C for Cindy Watts. Isn't she a nutcase? Can't get over the cheese. They need cheese like that in prison for Shanks. Well, in prison, Uh, Besides making them out of toothbrushes and scraps of metal, iron, the one of the largest, most used item for making Shanks cement shoes is Jolly Ranchers. They melt them down and then they fold the Jolly Rancher over itself over and over again, and it becomes super hard. And they can stab somebody with it and then snap it off, and then they don't have a weapon anymore because it's stuck in the other person that they stabbed it with. Learned that from my father-in-law, who was a prison guard in Oregon for several years. So they finally stopped selling Jolly Ranchers on the commissary because people were taking Jolly Ranchers and they were melting them down and turning them into actual Shanks. Drunk drivers and theft are the most dangerous, are the most charges I've seen in court. Yeah, well, I used to go to the courthouse to visit my friend who's a district court judge, and that is true. That is a lot of the cases that because I'd have to wait for him at the end of the day. I'd only see like maybe 10 cases. I mean, he all day long. That's all he was listening to, or sitting on the judge for, as a judge for. A lot of it. No more Jolly Ranchers. Nope, they don't sell anything like that at all. Well, at least not there. I can't say for every prison, but at least not there where he was, a prison guard at. What the hell are Jolly Ranchers? They're little tiny candies that come in a little wrapper about that. They're about that big. They're a hard candy. I don't know how else to describe them. They're kind of transparent in color. They're flavored like watermelon, sour apple, blue raspberry, stuff like that. Those are the flavors of them. They come in a multi-pack. I don't know. I can't. I'm probably not doing a good job of describing it, but they're a hard candy. They are yummy. They should Jolly Rancher Christopher Watts. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they have them there in the commissary. I'm pretty sure I have the commissary list on my computer. For Dodge Correction Center, I think I have a copy of that in my file. I could definitely look at the end if I remember. Somebody reminds me before this is over with. So, what is the second most committed crime in the United States of America every year? The correct answer is drunk driving. Drunk driving is the second most committed crime in the United States every year. When it comes to the number one crime in the United States every year is theft. It doesn't break it down by what kind of theft is number one, but we were looking for the second most, and it is drunk driving. In case anybody's wondering, crimes against children and crimes against women and men, rape and putting that on there, and incest is all number 4. Yeah, unfortunately, rape, sodomy, and crimes like that are number 4 in America. Theft is number 1. Drunk driving is number 2. But we were looking for the number 2 most committed crime in America. So this time, now we're going back over the pond. We're going back over to the UK for the next question. In London, England, in 1985, a man was arrested and convicted for what? A, stealing over 100 street signs. B, stealing the crown jewels. C, stealing anti-crime posters. Or D, stealing a delivery truck full of rubber duckies. A, B, C, or D? 1985 in London, England. A man was arrested and convicted of stealing what? Over 1,000 street signs, the crown jewels, or anti-crime posters, or a delivery truck full of rubber duckies. Hi, Glowworm. Welcome to the stream. I hope you had a great weekend, Glowworm. The duckies, going with the rubber duckies, Reichardt. Oh my! I'm going to steal the anti-crime posters for sheer silliness of it. They all sound awesome. Street signs, crown jewels, anti-crime posters, or stealing a truck full of rubber duckies. It was a foul crime. It's good. It's good. Duckies as crazy as the cheese. We got a little more information about this guy after I answer the question. Give you guys the answer. It was pretty good. Pretty good. I can't complain. But thank you. Look up Otto Warburg. May have spelled wrong. North Korean got him over a poster. He got his ass whipped. Yeah. Yeah, I remember him. Can we send Jolly Ranchers to the inmates around Christopher Watts? I don't know. You can't send a lot of things into prisons. And they probably wouldn't allow something like that, like candy. I mean, I know you're just joking, but a lot of prisons don't allow things like that in. I mean, you can't even send all types of books in. I used to own a bookstore, and whenever an inmate would order an item from me from my business, since I was on the approved list of vendors to actually ship books to prisons, I would have some books would be they fell into like a gray area because of the content, of what the book was about. And they weren't allowed to order hardcover books. They all had to be paperback or mass paper, trade or market, mass market paperbacks. So sometimes what I would have to do is I would have to contact the inmate back and say, you ordered a hardcover book. I need to remove the hardcover from this book in order to ship it because of the restriction of your prison. And 9 times out of 10, every inmate would be like, oh, I have special approval from the warden to order hardcover books. No, you don't. No, you don't. It was always a lie. Because I had to, I used to have to call the warden's office, or the Office of Communications with the prisons. I knew it. If they don't mill him, he might still get the diabetes. Diabetes. Hi, Jenny H. Welcome to the stream, Jenny. Jen. This is Jen, not Jenny. Jen. Diabetes. Chris already has a boyfriend. I'm sure he does. I'm sure he has a couple of friends. Donkeys are amazingly smart. That's a weird random law. So in London, England in 1985, a man was arrested and convicted of stealing what? Stealing over 1,000 street signs, stealing the crown jewels, stealing anti-crime posters, or stealing a delivery truck full of rubber duckies. The correct answer to this is stealing anti-crime posters. He would So this man had a drinking problem. It only identified him by his first name of Orrin, but kind of spelled differently than I would spell Orrin. But he stole anti-crime posters. He'd get loaded at the pub, and on the way home, he kept on stealing these anti-crime posters from around town on his walk home. At least he was smart enough to walk home from the pub, but he stole the crime posters. I live for irony. Ooh, Collins up to two right. Shut North Korea down. I bombed my off all night, all tonight, off tonight. LML. Anna. Miranda. Welcome to the stream. I'm sorry if I missed you earlier. I'm sorry. I'm trying to read the things that it went by really close. Sunshine's got 2 out of 6 so far. Andrew Shoemaker. Why haven't you jumped on the bandwagon of the Jeremy DeWitt story? Well, have I made a video about Jeremy DeWitt? Yes. The Jeremy DeWitt videos are for channel members only right now. I haven't released them to the general public because I don't know. I had more subscribers, people who subscribe, channel members who were interested in it than the general public. So, and that was actually requested by a channel member for me to do the videos on it. I think I just released one 2 days ago, 3 days ago, I think it was. But he's a freaking space cadet. That's no problem, Andrew Shoemaker. Okay, so next trivia question. And you guys, you're going to find this very interesting. I'm sure everyone's going to have a guess or something to say about this one. What year was the last crucifixion carried out? When was the last crucifixion carried out? Your options are, here, I cannot believe this, 1984, 1990, 2000, or 2014. What year was the last crucifixion carried out? 1984, 1990, 2000, or 2014? Yeah, it's I think it's like 170 total. There's a lot of them. But what year was the last crucifixion carried out? 1984, 1990, 2000, or 2014? Here, Alicat's praying it's 1984. And you'll never guess. I'll tell you at the end of after I give you the answer what the crucifixion was carried out for. Options are A, 1984, B, 1990, C, 2000, or D, 2014. What year was the last crucifixion carried out? Was Saddam Hussein crucified? No, he was hung. Pretty bizarre. I'm confused and yet horrified. No, they hung Saddam Hussein. I want to say it had to be within. It was like within 6 months after me and my buddies had already left. Because they were, I think they were still looking for him when we were there before we left. Cheryl Hamilton is going with 2,000. It should have been Cindy Watts. I can think of a whole bunch of people I'd like to put up on the do a crucifixion on. What year was the last crucifixion carried out? A, 1984, B, 1990, C, 2000, or D, 2014? Timothy Jones Jr. goes first. I hate him more for what he did to his kids. Yeah, I don't know though, but I don't know if I can hate him more than what Christopher Watts did. I mean, they both did horrific things to their children. Horrific. I'll never understand how anybody can harm a child, but yeah, it's sad. Timothy Jones Jr., freaking psychopath. What year was the last crucifixion carried out? A, 1984, B, 1990, C, 2000, or D, 2014? The correct answer is B as in boy, 1990. It was carried out in the Sudan. It was carried out in the actual middle of town square. It was for theft of rice and bread. During the famine, this individual, along with 3 others who were shot and killed later on, carried out a theft of over 4 tons of rice and over 30 tons of bread that was meant to be distributed to refugees who were starving, and they carried out a crucifixion there in the town square on this individual because he stole rice and bread in the Sudan, 1990. Not Bakersfield. Father's Day in that pod must be a hoot. Yeah, Lisa, I've been reading about that all morning, about the mother who killed her kids in Bakersfield. Yeah, I think the last update was that they thought that she might have stolen a car to, as a getaway or something like that. There might have been one in Syria, but not according to the book that I got these from, Hello Sunshine. So maybe 2014 is right. But the book that I got them from was printed. Hold on. I got it right here. All right, this book was printed in 2019. So that was the trivia question in the game. So the next question: what name officially appears on Charles Manson's birth certificate? Charles Manson, good old Charlie. What name officially appears on Charles Manson's birth certificate? The options are A, no name Maddox. That's exactly what it says, no name Maddox. So I'm reading these exactly how the options are for you guys. B, bastard child Maddox. C, Maddox white boy. Or D, Charlie son of God Maddox. What name officially appears on Charles Manson's birth certificate? A, no name Maddox. B, bastard child Maddox. C, Maddox white boy. Or D, Charlie son of God Maddox. I don't have a cover on it, Anna. I'll see if I can post the UPC for it. The that's just a damn book. There it is. Ulysses Press. Well, I thought for sure you can buy it from it, but they don't give you the UPC or the ISBN. Nothing. Well, it's made by Ulysses Press, and it's the book's title is True Crime Trivia World Edition. True Crime Trivia World Edition. Who the hell writes it? Don't have the unless I want to pay to actually enter their stupid site. I'll look at it later. They make serial killer trivia books. Okay, quickly. So Ulysses Press is the publisher. It's called True Crime Trivia World Edition, but they also make the cookbook Serial Killer Trivia cookbook, and it's an actual cookbook of the last meals of the condemned. That's an actual cookbook, ladies and gentlemen. That's one of the books that they make. It's called the Serial Killer Cookbook. They also have the serial killer trivia, and they also have the true crime trivia books from around the world. There's like first, second, and third edition. I'm not sure which edition this is. I bought this one at Goodwill for in the bin, and they actually ripped the covers off them there. So I think they take the covers off them. They get them from, I don't know, Barnes and Noble or wherever. They used to clip the corners of the books, or they would take a marker and make them on the spine of the book. If I have anything like that. Yeah. See, like that. This one has a black mark here on the pages. That's how I used to mark the books when I had my bookstore. I would mark I'd take not down the page length, but I'd mark them this way, so I knew that they were a discounted book. But at the Goodwill that's local to me, they ripped the covers off the book. So, but I'll before I end here, I'll pull up, see if I can pull the ISBN number so I can post it for you. So back to the trivia question. What name officially appears on Charles Manson's birth certificate? The options are A, no name Maddox. B, bastard child Maddox. C, Maddox white boy. Or D, Charlie son of God Maddox. Written by Ronnie Watts. Hi, Soccer Mama One. Welcome to True Crime Trivia. Right now, the question is, what is the official name on Charles Manson's birth certificate? A, No Name Maddox. B, Bastard Child Maddox. C, Maddox White Boy. Or D, Charlie Son of God Maddox. At Borders, we pulled the covers off and just sent those back to the publisher when returning things that didn't sell. Yeah, that's basically what the Barnes and Noble here does. They pull the covers off them, and then they donate the books, because as soon as they send the covers back, they get that proves, look, it didn't sell. They get a refund back, and then they don't need the book. They either throw it in the dumpster or they donate them to Goodwills, hospitals, and stuff like that. So some of them have the paper, dust cover that you put on a hardcover book. They have ones that peel off. It's not really sticky, but it has enough of adhesion to stick the paper. But so they put those on it, and then they just print and slap a label on there of what the book is. One on the binding and one on the front cover. But you always wanted a bookstore, Judy? It was a love of my life for a lot of years, and it just got to the point where I'd say about 50% of my business was online, selling on Abe Books, Barnes and Noble. I was a distributor through Barnes and Noble online, fulfillment, Amazon. I started on selling books on Amazon back in the early years of Amazon, and I had what was called a Z store, and I sold somewhat half price books in eBay. I mean, wherever the hell I can make money, but the overhead was and insurance just got so out of whack. It was just like, forget it. It wasn't worth it to me anymore. So I got out of it. But the one thing that I loved about it the most, though, Judy, was if nothing sold and I went bankrupt, which I didn't, but even if I did, I always had something else to read. They talk about godsend. It's like, you know what? This entire business can be a complete failure, and I've got all this to read. All right, so what was the official name that appears on Charles Manson's birth certificate? The correct answer is A, No Name Maddox. So where the last name is, first name, and middle name, it actually says No Name and then Maddox. Maddox, Maddox. That was his mother's last name. 2 weeks after leaving the hospital, his mother picked the name of Charles Miles Maddox. That is Charlie's real name, Charles Miles Maddox. Been cruising bookstores for decades. My mom had a library in her house. Yeah, you should see my mother-in-law's house, Judy. Everything that they have is, I wouldn't say everything, but I'd say a good 80% of it is all mass market paperbacks. They were prolific readers. They still are. My father-in-law, not so much anymore. He's had 3 or 4 strokes. So, I mean, he's able to get around. He just doesn't want to anymore now. He's at that age where he'd just rather sit and watch television than they go to bed. He does the same thing every day. I try my damnedest to try to get him to come out of the house and go do things, but he doesn't ever want to do anything anymore. But, okay. Next question is, who is Charles Manson's biological father? Who is Charles Manson's biological father? A, David Maddox, his mother's brother? B, Colonel Walker Scott? C, Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys? Or D, G. Gordon Liddy? Who is Charles Manson's biological father? Is it A, David Maddox, his mother's brother? B, Colonel Walker Scott? Or C, Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys? Or D, G. Gordon Liddy? Lucifer. That's good. I like that cement shoes. It's good. Wow. At least one full wall of books, in every room. Damn, that's a lot of books. The when I sold my bookstore, we had to do an inventory because I sold the business to another individual who wanted to move it to Austin, Texas, and there's a whole another story behind that one. Whew. But there was a small portion of the inventory that he didn't want and I wanted to keep. It's like great, worked out perfect. He wanted the books, the music, because I had like CDs and records, some games, but not a lot. And he wanted to buy it and move it all to Austin, Texas. But what he left, I still have. It's actually in my basement. But I had just over, I think it was like 72,000 books, something like that. That's counting the inventory that I kept. But there used to be, I don't know if you guys remember this, but there used to be a chain called Hastings Bookstore in music, whatever. I don't know. Hastings sold a little bit of everything. But at one point, I had a larger inventory of actual books than Hastings Bookstore, and about half of the actual square footage. But Hastings is long gone. But the inventory that I have left, I have in my basement. It's all in airtight bins. My daughter wanted it. She had dreams of opening up an eBay store and selling it. But then she got into selling comics and helping clear out estates, selling estate property, like the actual belongings from estates. So. And then she went to nursing school, and that all got kind of pushed back. She still dabbles a little in online sales, but who is Charles Manson's biological father? Is it A, David Maddox, his mother's brother? B, Colonel Walker Scott? C, Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys? Or D, G. Gordon Liddy? The correct answer is Colonel Walker Scott. B. B as in boy is the correct answer to that question. Working in bookstores was your favorite job you ever had? History book obsessed? I can agree with that, Irage. I love history books. An audiobook fan, better to hear a book while driving than music? Yeah. When I go on long trips, I listen to audiobooks when I'm going on vacation. If I have like a long period time to drive, several hour period. Either that or I take Rosetta Stone with me, and I have a terrible time of keeping a lot of it in my head. I can read it. I can not necessarily read it, but I can see it, and I can, if it's in that language, I can kind of make out a little bit of what it's saying. But I lose a lot of like if you don't repeat it, you don't keep your mind up on it. Audio books, language books, learning new languages from the Rosetta Stone. You love history and science? That's cool. History and science, those are big in my house. I miss mom and pop stores. So many of them are gone, especially during this COVID. So one of these days, I'll tell you guys a story about the guy who bought my bookstore and was going to move it to Austin, Texas. I'll tell you the full story of that. Very interesting. One of these days, though. Don't have time for it tonight, though. All right. So the next trivia question. 1 in 20 children born in the United States this year will do what in their lifetime? 1 in 20 children born in the United States in this year will do one of the following in their lifetime. A, learn to rope and ride on a cattle drive. B, serve time in prison or jail. C, commit adultery. Or D, flunk out of higher education. 1 in 20 children born in the United States this year will do one of the following in their lifetime. Learn to rope and ride on a cattle drive. B, serve time in prison or jail. C, commit adultery. Or D, flunk out of higher education. UFO books were your thing, Mr. Frosty? I don't think I have anything on UFOs. I mean, I got some books on cults that believe in the UFO, and this one, Doomsday Cult. There's several of them in here. All right, because I'm the precursors to the Heaven's Gate cult is in here. What is this name? Astral on YouTube. He's always talking about aliens. I don't mean to be dismissive of those who believe in UFOs or aliens. I don't mean it to sound that way. Sad, but I'm going with D, thanks to COVID-19. D or due time. Sad to think that's our culture, but love me some good UFO sightings, a good alien probing. You're obsessed with Antarctica? Hi, Juju. Well, I hope you feel better soon, Juju. If you want to read a good story that is very well documented, you need to read up on Bob Lazar. If he's not telling the truth about what he saw at work, the government has done an awful lot to screw his life the hell up for no reason. Makes you really wonder what the hell they're trying to hide if they'll go after someone like Bob Lazar. Yes, he gets weird sometimes. Other times he is interesting. Yeah. Began with a migraine and can't even keep down Pedialyte down. Oh, I'm sorry. If you're taking over-the-counter medication for your headache, Juju, um, if you want to make it faster, more effective on in your body, I don't. I'm just saying, like maybe you go to sleep tonight and tomorrow, and if you still have the migraine, uh, drink it with either a cup of coffee, strong black coffee, or take the medication with strong black coffee or a cola of some sort, something with caffeine in it. The caffeine is dilator, vessel dilator, or whatever. I'm probably screwing it up. I know my wife knows the answer to this, but that, or if you're taking, if you need, not necessarily migraine medication, but I know it will work on migraines because I used to suffer from migraines myself, and I used to take Maxalt MLT for them. But if you take Midol or something like that, Midol, and then take it, chew it. Disgusting as hell, but if you chew it, it'll get into your system faster along with the caffeine. Vasoconstrictor. That's what it is. Dilate. Yeah. Coffee in the morning is what launched the first vomit. Oh, I'm sorry, Juju. Well, I hope that you really do hope that you're feeling better soon. So the trivia question is: 1 in 20 children born in the United States in this year will do one of these in their lifetime. A, learn to rope and ride on a cattle drive. B, serve time in prison or jail. C, commit adultery. Or D, flunk out of higher education. The correct answer is B. B as in boy. Serve time in jail or prison. 1 in 20 children born in the United States right now, this year, will serve time in either prison or jail. That, ladies and gentlemen, is not just for this year. That has been the trend for all children who have been born and are at the age of 15 plus right now. Sometime either juvenile hall or some type of jail or prison. Unfortunately, I was at my son's school the other day and I was looking at, all the kids running around when I've read this, and I've written the question down. And I'm watching and I'm counting. I'm like, okay, well, there's 20 kids right there. And I'm trying, this is sad. I'm looking at them and I'm like, which one of these kids is going to end up in prison or jail someday? Watching them all run around. That's sad. Because these things stick in my head. And it's impossible for me to I read this stuff and I research it and I'm like, damn, it'll affect you after a while. You got your third, cool. Says a lot for parenting and lack of discipline. And on top of that, the sheer amount of laws that constantly get passed and added to the book, Soccer Mom. We are a jail-happy society. Starfire, and welcome, Starfire, in case I missed you earlier, because we like to throw you in jail for anything in the U.S. There's a lot of things that you can do that violate the laws that nobody would, you'd think that, well, they're not going to arrest me for that, but they will, and they can. All right. Going back over the river, the pond now. Going back over this time. So this time we're looking at samurais. Hua, samurais. And samurai swords. Samurai swords, after they were made, before they were ever given to a samurai warrior, they would be tested how? How were samurai swords tested before they were ever given to a samurai warrior? A, they used them on chopping a log or a tree. B, cutting a mango. C, they used them on prisoners. Or D, they used them to cut coconuts. How were samurai swords tested before they gave them to samurai warriors? A, logs, trees. B, mangoes. C, prisoners. Or D, coconuts. Hold on. I have to reply to this text. It's my mother-in-law. Okay. My mother-in-law is looking for C-clamps. Boop. Coconuts is your guess? Answer your mother-in-law? I did. I texted her back. She's I think she's working on a craft project, something for her garden that she's building. But she's looking for C-clamps to actually hold things together. So when she glues them, and then she can put nails in it. She wanted to know if I borrowed her C-clamps. I was like, no, I haven't borrowed your C-clamps, but I have some if you need them. So samurai swords. How were samurai swords tested before they gave them to samurai warriors? A, logs, trees. B, mangoes. C, on prisoners. Or D, coconuts. I rage. Have a good night. Only Keanu Reeves knows for sure. Yeah, he has. Keanu Reeves, though, speaking of him, he has a motorcycle company, and he builds each and every motorcycle for one person at a time. And they are absolutely insane motorcycles, ladies and gentlemen. If you're looking for a motorcycle to go from like 0 to 60 in like 3 seconds, you need to look up Keanu Reeves' motorcycle company. They're insane motorcycles. But he builds them. They actually make you go there. They measure you from head to toe to see how you're gonna sit on it and how it's going to feel, everything. But they're one off. Every motorcycle is exactly as built for that individual. But they cost a lot of money. Samurai swords were tested on C, prisoners. That was how they tested samurai swords before they actually gave them to samurai warriors. They tested them on prisoners. Beautiful machines. I met a guy here, and well, he was it's kind of like a car and motorcycle show, but it was because of the social distancing. Everybody had to stand 6 feet apart, from it. But the guy actually had one of the motorcycles there, and I got to talk to him. A lot of my friends have Harleys and stuff like that, motorcycles. I have a motorcycle, but it's in about 50 pieces over on the shelf in my studio here, in this actual space, just on the other side of the door here. It's on a shelf. It's kind of like hobby, I guess you could call it. I used to build cafe racers, and I have the entire bike frame, everything. It's all over there, sitting on the shelf. I'll eventually get it done. But like my mother-in-law always told me, you have no business being on a motorcycle if you have children. That's what she used to tell me. You have to lay down away from the chat. I'll be here listening. Okay, Juju. Well, next trivia question, ladies and gentlemen, is about John Wayne Gacy. Killer clown, John Wayne Gacy. John Wayne Gacy loved dressing up for children's birthday parties. What was his preferred ice cream? John Wayne Gacy. What was John Wayne Gacy's favorite ice cream? A, vanilla. B, chocolate. C, strawberry. Or D, mint. Killer clown, John Wayne Gacy. What was his favorite ice cream? Vanilla, A, B, chocolate, C, strawberry, or D, mint. What was John Wayne Gacy's favorite ice cream? Pedialyte? I don't think she's answering what type of ice cream did he like. Pedialyte. Oh, hello, sunshine. Mint with body bits. That's Dahmer's favorite. Strawberry. Was Gacy's mint? Was Oklahoma City Bomber? Was Gacy mint? Timothy McVeigh was Oklahoma City Bomber. Strawberry. Gacy was mint. Was fried chicken, Mr. Frosty. Fried chicken. I guess mint because it makes me the most sick. It's a crying shame. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're doing well and you had a great weekend. Mr. Frosty, his last meal was KFC fried shrimp, pound of strawberries. Weirdo Deluxe. There's a new guy who killed his parents and boiled his mother's head. I think I've read about that. But what was John Wayne Gacy's favorite ice cream? A, vanilla, B, chocolate, C, strawberry, or D, mint? How do people remember these details? His last meal? Joel Guy Jr.? Is there somebody in the name? Joel Guy Jr.? Mr. Frosty? How does Mr. Frosty remember what his last meal was? Well, it's very well documented what John Wayne Gacy's last meal was before he was executed. The reason why he had KFC chicken was because, well, he used to manage KFCs. Guy is as creepy as Gacy. Looked dead inside. I'm confusing Will guys. Joel something. Oh. What was John Wayne Gacy's favorite ice cream? I figured that Mr. Frosty was going to nail this one as soon as I saw him post exactly what his last meal was to the T. Fried shrimp, KFC chicken, strawberries. His favorite ice cream was strawberry. The correct answer is C. Mr. Frosty got that one. But yes, I've actually done a video on the last meals of the condemned and what they ate. But that was a very well known fact about Gacy was he loved eating strawberries and he looked like a freaking weirdo eating strawberries. Oh, you'd never want to eat a strawberry if you ever watch Gacy in the video of him eating strawberries. Give you shivers. I'll have the Gacy. Joel Guy Jr. Killings were in 2016. Just had the trial. I'm still not giving up strawberry milkshakes. I would love to have a malted milkshake. There isn't any. There used to be a place here. It was kind of like a '50s diner, like themed restaurant that had malted milkshakes. There isn't anybody left that makes malted milkshakes now. Well, they've been closed because of the COVID, and they're not sure if they're going to reopen. They started like a GoFundMe to try to get through because they didn't qualify for the PPP loan or whatever it was. But there isn't any place you can go where I live, and get a malted milkshake. Sucks. I love a good vanilla shake or chocolate sometimes, but most places use too dark of a chocolate, like ice cream, for the shakes. Just get the powdered malt like Whoppers. Yuck. Yeah, I've never been a fan of the Whopper candies. We have a '50s diner there called Margie's Diner. She makes awesome malted milkshakes. Huh. Margie's Diner. Okay. Next question. Which serial killer was known as the Dusseldorf vampire? A. Wolfgang. Jesus Christ! I should have wrote that better. Wolfgang Schmidt. B. Bruno Lutke. C. Carl Dank. Or Peter Cruton. Curtin. Man, my writing is terrible. I must have been in a hurry when I wrote this one. Which serial killer was known as the Dusseldorf vampire? A. Wolfgang Schmidt. B. Bruno Lutke. C. Carl Dank. Or D. Peter Curtin. Curtin. S. Singleton. I can watch anything except for the BTK killer talking. He makes you physically ill. And S. Singleton, welcome to the stream. Hope I didn't miss anybody else. If I did, I'm sorry. I'm actually afraid to say anything, but going doing pretty well tonight. I've only missed two. Ooh, Jeannie, see? Diana Bowman. B. B. I'm still here. I haven't gone anywhere. You can't see me, but I'm still here. Oh, I don't know. Let me count. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I think this is 14. Hello, Sunshine. I could be wrong. I don't know if I skipped any of them, though. Cement Shoes is still disturbed about the first one. A wedge of hard cheese. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yep, this is question number 14. The serial killer was known as the Dusseldorf Vampire. Theresa Marie is guessing Peter. D. Reichardt is guessing cigarette. That's a good guess, Reichardt. Oh, Rodney Olakane. Do we have a question about him later? Judy, he's coming. He's on here. Mike Pence. The Dusseldorf Vampire. Yeah, option E, Mike Pence. He acts like an accountant of death. I guess I don't know these answers tonight. I have right. Huh? Will, did you ever tell everyone about the serial killer who wrote you said in his letter? Will, did you ever tell anyone what the serial killer who wrote you said in the letter? Oh, Dennis? He won't talk about the crimes that he committed. He's written me twice. He won't talk about the crimes that he committed, though. He just talks about his hobbies that he's picked up in along the way in jail. He reads a lot. In prison, he reads a lot more now. He was hoping to get a new job in the prison system, but no, that's about it. It's been. He writes so on every line on a piece of paper, he writes like 2 lines inside of each one. And I'm not sure what I correspond with a lot of people. I'm actually writing to a guy right now who is I'm hoping to interview him once he gets out of prison. He's in prison for manslaughter. but he's up for parole. But I've written to Ridgway. Ridgway has written me a couple of times. Dennis is Dennis has written me twice, I think. So not sure which one you're actually talking about. Do you think someday he will open up about his crimes, soccer mom of one? Um, Dennis, no. Gary Ridgway is the same way. Won't talk about his crimes either. No one compares to Ted Bundy. He was a different character. He's on here as well on the trivia. I don't know if he's on here tonight though. I might just read his question anyways. But the Dusseldorf vampire is Peter Curtin. D was the correct answer for that one. Okay, next one. Ed Kemper. Ed Kemper voiced several audiobooks while incarcerated. Which of the following did he not do? Ed Kemper voiced several audiobooks while in prison. Which one did he not do? A. Dr. Seuss's ABCs. B. A Flower in the Attic. C. Star Wars. Or D. Wizard of Oz. Ed Kemper voiced several audiobooks while in prison. Which one did he not do? A. Dr. Seuss's ABCs. B. A Flower in the Attic. C. Star Wars. Or D. Wizard of Oz. Oh, Ning and Lake, yeah. Oh, I was reading that and it went bye-bye. Where'd it go? Jeez, a lot of comments all at once came in there. Was a serial killer who shot up a bike shop and had a girl locked in a crate. They rescued when they arrested him. It was a shipping container, wasn't it? That he had turned into. All it was in there was like a bed and a lamp and a little table. I think. David Parker Ray, more than 50 women in his toy box. Way worse than Bundy. I'm not sure if David Parker Ray is on here tonight, but he might be. I mean, we could do all 40 of these that I have written down. I think it's 40 of them. Loretta Wilcox. Welcome to the stream. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Yeah. Sick son of a. Going with Dr. Seuss as your guess. Now, Pete, you might be wondering why did Ed Kemper, do audiobooks while he was in prison? He did them for blind inmates, those who couldn't read because they lost their vision. So he would read the books and record them to audio tapes, so blind inmates could actually, enjoy the audiobook version of a book. Some of the tapes have actually, they made their way out of prison, but for the most part, they were all destroyed. But Ed Kemper voiced several audiobooks while in prison. Which of these did he not do? A. Dr. Seuss's ABCs. B. Flower in the Attic. C. Star Wars. Or D. Wizard of Oz. There's an audiobook of Ed reading Cat in the Hat. My mind will explode. Don't know if he did Cat in the Hat. Toolbox Killers are the worst ever in your opinion? Hi. Ed was 6'9". And he was a tall guy. I know he was a tall guy. I keep hearing about mine hunters. He might not sleep again. He actually had a pretty decent voice for if you think about the in context of the time and everything else, and if he was able to do it, apparently he was very well. Those who actually got the audiobooks and got to listen to them, they actually really enjoyed them. Ed Kemper voiced several audiobooks while in prison. Which of these did he not do? A. Dr. Seuss's ABCs. B. Flower in the Attic. C. Star Wars. Or D. Wizard of Oz. The correct answer is D. Wizard of Oz. He never did Wizard of Oz. Yeah, I think it was the last stream somebody told me about mine hunters. I haven't had a chance to check them out yet, but I will. Okay, we're going back over the pond again, ladies and gentlemen. Rosemary and Fred West. They murdered half of their children. Of the remaining children who survived, what did they tell their children when they misbehaved? What did Rosemary and Fred tell their children when they misbehaved? Obviously, those that survived. A, we're not your real parents. B, you want to see the boogeyman tonight? C, you want to end up underneath the patio? Or D, today is a good day for you to die. What did Fred and Rosemary West tell their children that survived, obviously, when they misbehaved? A, we're not your real parents. B, you want to see the boogeyman tonight? C, you want to end up underneath the patio? Or D, today is a good day for you to die. Got a lot of C's, some D's, B. All right, I'll let you guys think about this. I have to go check on what size of C clamps they are for my mother-in-law. I'll be right back. Just take me a minute. And of course, I can't find them. Oh, Will abandon us? I didn't abandon you. Checking on C clamps for my mother-in-law. Okay, Rosemary and Fred West. What did they tell their children that survived? What happened to them if they misbehaved? A, we're not your real parents. B, you want to see the boogeyman tonight. C, you want to end up underneath the patio. Or D, today is a good day for you to die. Fred and Rosemary West used to tell their children when they misbehaved, C, you want to end up underneath the patio. Hi, Hannah. Welcome to the stream, Hannah. You don't get any notifications? I'm sorry about that. I know for me and my wife finally figured out what the issue was with us, and for the subscriptions that we have, for channels that we subscribe to on my cell phone. Okay, I had actually turned off notifications for on YouTube to be notified when somebody uploaded another video because I can't have my phone going off all day and night especially while I'm filming. Either that or I have to turn it off and put it someplace else. But the moment I turned off notifications on my cell phone, it turned it off for all notifications on YouTube for like using it from the desktop. So that might have happened for you. And if you use YouTube on more than one device, either a laptop or a tablet or a PC, they might have turned off all notifications. Oh, but Rosemary and Fred West, wow, and just remember they killed half of their children. Every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, and the True Crime Trivia Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. All right, next one. Next question. The FBI functions are truly unique. Activities. Hold on. I'm going to learn how to read English especially that I've written. The FBI's functions are truly unique. Its activities are closely supported national security and not law enforcement, like most believe. What is the Soviet Union's version of the FBI called? A, the FBS, B, the FSB, C, the FBT, or D, the FBA. The FBI's, what is the Soviet Union's version of the FBI? Is it A, FBS, B, FSB, C, the FBT, or D, the FBA? A, B, C, or D. It's a lot easier to remember it that way. Now, the KGB is not an option. It's going to start with the letter F. Either the FBS, the FSB, the FBT, or the FBA. The Soviet Union's version of the FBI. A, B, C, or D? Don't know. A bunch of BS. D. All the above. Although I'm way off. Sorry, I'm texting my mother-in-law back. She's going to come and pick him up tomorrow. So I've got, after the stream tonight, I have to figure out where the hell I put the other C clamps, because she needs them for the project she's working on. The West eldest attempted suicide. Yeah, I don't think there's Juju. I don't think any of the West's children are all there. I mean, you have to remember from the young age, when they were toddlers, they were all tortured, either physically or they were tortured mentally, and I would be surprised that that they all didn't either attempt suicide or have been severely scarred for the rest of their lives. I've been researching the West for a video that I'm doing on them. I'll probably have it up in a week. I'm hoping to have it up next week, sometime. But I just have to get enough time to finish it. I've written the script. I've shot the rough footage of it. Now I have to kind of go through and figure out what I can cut, where to make the edits, and and then start all that. So. But I'm getting there. I'm almost there. It takes a while, at least for me, because I have so much more that I'm working on at the same time. All right, just took a deep dive into this Lori Vallow Chad Daybell case. Hello, Sunshine. Yeah, that's a whacking case. You should go check out. Scott Reish's it's Crime Talk on YouTube. I was gonna after their court date the other day, and their ongoing continuance motions. And when is this case ever going to get to court? When are we ever going to have a drop dead deadline on that case for no more motions? Is beyond me. So I mean, I don't even know. I would be really surprised if Lori Vallow and the Chad Daybell case ever actually makes it to court in this year, in 2021. If they're ever going to start the actual trial in 2021. I have a feeling that as the next court dates are going to come up, they're going to submit, Lori's attorney and Chad's attorney is going to end up submitting more motions and drawing it out even farther. And the state has been ready. They had to be ready within the first, 60, 90 days. They had to be ready with their case and, dot their I's and cross their T's. But I have no idea if that case is ever going to come to, to a point. So the FBI, what is the Soviet Union's version of the FBI? The correct answer is B, the FSB. B as in boy is the correct answer to the last trivia question. I didn't jump any bridge. The West oldest did in '99. Waiting for murder charges, short and nice. I think we all are. Yeah. So next one is we're sticking with the FBI. How many main field offices of the FBI are there across the United States? Main field offices. A, 26. B, 56. C, 86. Or D, 106. How many main field offices? And that's the key part you need to understand. Main offices, main field offices. They have satellite ones out there as well. But those satellite ones, there are always like one or two FBI agents in them. They don't count. But it has to be a main field office. I don't know how many FBI agents you need to qualify to be a main field office, but how many main field offices? I'll give you the answer to help you, figure it out. There are over 3,000 satellite offices with one or two agents in them across the United States. Over 3,000 FBI offices. But we're looking for main field offices. How many are there? 26, 56, 86, or 106? Too many? Yeah. Juju, that is the correct answer. Too many. I mean, you think you could take the United States and divide it in like four, maybe, and have four main offices, to work out of. But nope, not the FBI. Not when it comes to the government. And you think that's bad? You ought to see what Homeland Security has. Oh, wow. There are far more Homeland Security officers than there are FBI agents. I wish Mark Redwire trial would start already. There's a couple of different ones that I've been following that I'm still waiting for the cases to get started. Debbie's case has been put on, what do you call it? It's not a hiatus. God damn it! I'm trying to remember what they actually call it there. permanent continuance. I don't know what the hell they call it. I'm drawing a blank on it now. All the way to the FBI. Do you ever watch Reno 911? I used to. I used to watch it. It's a spoof on the police. Yeah. Yeah, it's a comedy. I used to watch it. It's been a while since I've seen any of them. I'm waiting with bated rest for Letitia Stauch's case. Boswell, Stauch, and Red Wine. I'm waiting for. Deborah Martin is her name. It's the one I'm waiting for. But I can't remember what they call it there in the state. You know, where they put the case is not going to progress. They've put a halt to all parts of the actual case itself. Learned quite a bit on the Chavana case trial. Yeah. But I used to be able to keep in contact with Deborah Martin. She used to be able to write me, but now her attorneys have put a halt to any communication at all between me or to other people. And she hasn't really technically spoken to me. You know, she used to write me, but I've spoken directly on the phone with her friend who is kind of looking out for her best welfare. So I don't know. Pulmonary function is a major thing. COVID death, rock on lockdown. I'm out of the loop on everything. How many main field offices of the FBI are there across the United States? The correct answer is B as in boy, 56. There are over 3,000 satellite offices of the FBI, but there are only 56 main field offices of the FBI. Okay, if you like to read, you may get the next one pretty quickly. Convicted and sentenced to prison, what man penned the first draft of History of the World while in prison? Convicted and sentenced to prison, what man penned the first draft of History of the World while in prison? A. Sir Arthur Doyle. B. Sir Walter Raleigh. C. Sir Anthony Hopkins. Or D. Sir Michael Jordan. Who penned the first draft of History of the World while in prison? A. Sir Arthur Doyle. B. Sir Walter Raleigh. C. Sir Anthony Hopkins. Or D. Sir Michael Jordan. Has Mel Brooks been knighted? Can he use the name Sir? I mean, if he hasn't, he should be. Mel Brooks is a comic genius. Not that I love Spaceballs. Funny spoof movie. Oh my god. Hilarious. You're changing Riker's changing it to be. Don't think Anthony Hopkins has been knighted? I mean, Mel Brooks has been knighted? Starfire? The question is, convicted and sentenced to prison, what man penned the first draft of History of the World? That's a book. While in prison. A. Sir Arthur Doyle. B. Sir Walter Raleigh. C. Sir Anthony Hopkins. Or D. Sir Michael Jordan. Life Stinks is a great book and film. Yes. He loved his wife Anne Bancroft madly. Jeannie is going with Sir Walter Raleigh. Convicted and sentenced to prison. Sent to prison. He wrote the first draft of History of the World. The correct answer is Sir Walter Raleigh. B, as in boy. Obviously, I put the last two in there as a joke. Sir Anthony Hopkins has not been in prison, and Michael Jordan, the basketball player, hasn't been knighted either. But the correct answer was B. Sir Walter Raleigh wrote History of the World while in prison. Oh yeah. Oh, I know Anthony Hopkins has been knighted, and I know of at least a couple other Americans that have been knighted. Or maybe they had dual citizenship. I don't know. I'd have to think about it for a minute. So the next question, we're going to the great state of Texas. Yeah, everything's bigger in Texas and better in Texas, isn't it? That's what Texas says. So, in the great state of Texas, what reason did the state of Texas ban the last cigarette for a death row inmate before they were executed? For what reason did the state of Texas ban the last cigarette to a death row inmate before they were executed? The options are A, it was bad for their lungs. B, it was bad for their teeth. C, it was bad for the morale of other inmates. Or D, it was bad for their clothing. In Texas, they banned the last cigarette for a death row inmate before they are executed for what reason? A, bad for their lungs. B, bad for their teeth. C, bad for the morale of other inmates. Or D, it was bad for their clothes. Being a smoker, you'd think I'd know this one, but I have no clue. Bye, Soccer Mom of One. Thank you for joining us tonight. You have a great night. And you have a great week ahead. You stay safe out there, too. Marsola child abuse? I don't know what that went for. For what reason did the state of Texas ban the last cigarette for an inmate about to be executed? Was it bad for their lungs, bad for their teeth, bad for the inmate morale around them, or their clothing? What was the reason the state of Texas said, you're about to die, you don't get another cigarette? Ironic value. I'm going with bad for their lungs. Could be. A lot of guesses for C. I mean, when you think about it, though, it doesn't matter which one it is. I mean, they're all ridiculous. But they have one of these is the real reason why they banned giving an inmate who is about to die a cigarette. For what reason did the state of Texas ban the last cigarette to death row inmates before they were executed? A, bad for their lungs. B, bad for their teeth. C, bad for inmate morale. Or D, bad for their clothing. Good vibes. The correct answer is B. B as in boy. Bad for their teeth. We're going to kill you in 20 minutes. You don't get a cigarette. It's bad for your teeth. It may yellow them. You're going to be dead in 20 minutes. Why does it matter? Give them a damn cigarette. Get it over with. I don't know. That's the state of Texas for you. Cigarettes are bad for you. They are, Judy. Okay. Next one is Joseph DeAngelo, the Golden State Killer. Joseph DeAngelo, the Golden State Killer, once called one of his surviving victims years after he let her go. Joseph DeAngelo, the Golden State Killer, once called one of his victims years after he let her go. What did he tell her when he called her? What did Joseph DeAngelo say to his victim on the telephone years after he let her go? A, I've been thinking about you. B, I'm going to kill you. C, I still remember the smell of your hair. Or D, you were always my favorite victim. What did Joseph DeAngelo, the Golden State Killer, tell his victim years after he let her go when he called her on the telephone. Can you imagine being the victim of Joseph DeAngelo, and then years after he did what he did to you, getting a phone call from this man and him saying anything at all? You would think the moment you heard his voice, you have to go into absolute panic at that moment. The fact that he had the phone number to call them up years later. Ugh. It's creepy as fuck. See as Joe Biden. Oh, Starfire. You said C is Joe Biden. I had to look down at the list, and then it hit me. Oh my God, it's creepy. I still remember the smell of your hair. Oh, oh, that's good. I've heard a recording, Mr. Frosty. Forget what B was. B was, I'm going to kill you. That hair sniffing is revolting. But it's funny. It's funny. Come on. Because it's true. Oh my God. I didn't even think about that. Joseph DeAngelo, the Golden State Killer, once called one of his victims years later and told him what? A, I've been thinking about you. B, I'm going to kill you. C, I still remember the smell of your hair. Or D, you're always my favorite victim. What did he tell the victim years later when he called her? That's funny. Oh. That's true. Social distancing. Social distancing, right, Cart? Gotta be, it's gotta keep it away. So, as Mr. Frosty has pointed out, the correct answer is B, as in boy. And yes, there is an audio recording of it. There's also a transcript of that and a lot more that you can find online. But Joseph DeAngelo, the Golden State Killer, called his victim years later and told her, "I'm going to kill you." He repeated it several times, actually. And Joe Biden still remembers the smell of your hair. Oh, God. If it wasn't true, it wouldn't be as funny. Okay, next. Sticking with Joseph DeAngelo. When the police came to arrest Joseph DeAngelo, he said, "I can't leave right now. I'm cooking what in the oven?" "I'm cooking what in the oven?" he told them. "I can't go with you right now." A, he was cooking a pizza. B, pasta. Or C, a roast. Or D, an apple pie. What was Joseph DeAngelo, the Golden State Killer, cooking when the police came to arrest him? Maybe he really likes Herbal Essence commercials. Mr. Frosty says, "What did he say when the cops came for him?" He said, "I've got a roast in the oven." C, roast, C. I'm still here. You just can't see me, but I'm still here. What did Joseph DeAngelo have in the oven when the police came to arrest him? A pizza, pasta, a roast, or apple pie? It looks like everybody's going with roast so far. Fava beans and a nice Chianti. That wasn't Joseph DeAngelo. Both my daughters and son called, missed the question. Lisa, Joseph DeAngelo, the Golden State Killer, what did he say to police he had cooking in the oven when they came to arrest him? A pizza, B, pasta, C, a roast, or D, an apple pie? What did he have in the oven when it came to arrest him? The police should have told him he was your roast now. Surprising everybody, Mr. Frosty had it again. He had a roast in the oven, and they actually waited there at the home for the roast to be finished and then took it out of the oven and then arrested him. I do not believe he got a chance to eat it. All right. I'm gonna bump the camera there. Sorry. Richard Chase, the Vampire of Sacramento, would get very upset if he had seen any of the following in his victim's home. So he'd break in, he preferred to find homes where the doors were unlocked. But once he came in, he would get extremely upset if he saw any of the following, one of the following items on a wall in the house. A cross. B, pictures of children. C, a painting of flowers. Or D, coat racks. What made Richard Chase, the Vampire of Sacramento, upset when he got into the house of his victim? What if he saw one of the following on a wall anywhere in the house? It made him extremely upset. A cross, a picture of children, a painting of flowers, or a coat rack. Yeah, they waited for it. I think it had like 30 minutes left to cook, and they let him finish cooking it. They took it out of the oven, but I do not believe he got a chance to eat it though. But Richard Chase, the Vampire of Sacramento, will get very upset if he's seen any of the following hanging on a wall in the home: a cross, A, a cross, B, picture of children, C, a painting of flowers, or D, a coat rack. I don't know, Mr. Frosty. Don't know the answer why they let him finish it, cooking it. Maybe they wanted to take it back to the station house and feed it to all the detectives. I don't know. They're probably hungry. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think he got a chance to eat it though. They might have given him some of it, to get him to talk. Promise, hey man, you spill your guts on what you did, we'll give you some of that roast. I don't know. But the Vampire of Sacramento, Richard Chase, got upset when he saw one of the following hanging on a wall in the house of his victim. A cross, pictures of children, a painting of flowers, or a coat rack. You got a lot of A's. Got a D, coat rack. A. Never heard of the guy? You're guessing A? And well, Richard Ramirez. Going with D, guessing. I know he was killing to keep his blood from turning to dust. Richard Chase, the Vampire of Sacramento. Vampires hate crosses. So the question, Richard Chase, the vampire Sacramento, would get very upset if he saw one of the following on a wall in the house. The correct answer is pictures of children. He preferred to break into homes where the home was unlocked because it was an invitation. He saw it as an invitation to go in and kill the people inside. Preferred one or two people. He usually stalked the place beforehand, but he saw an unlocked door as an invitation to come on in. B, picture of children. So the next question is right along with that. We're sticking with Richard Chase, the vampire of Sacramento. When he was in prison and the FBI and the state police came to interview him in prison, what did he reach into the pocket of his coat to retrieve? What did Richard Chase, the vampire of Sacramento, reach into his coat pocket to retrieve when they came to interview him? A Bible. B, a cigarette. C, cooked macaroni and cheese. Or D, a cooked corn dog. What did Richard Chase, the vampire of Sacramento, reach into his pocket to retrieve when the state police and the FBI came to interview him in prison? A Bible, a cigarette, cooked macaroni and cheese, or a corn dog? Oh, he was definitely a little nutty. Starfire is going with mac and cheese in his pocket. Diana is going with a corn dog. Anna says, I'm sorry, dear Will. And everyone, thanks for letting me vent about my stroke and the loss of my family members due to COVID. I need to go now. See y'all later. Bye, Anna. You have a great night, and I hope you have a terrific week ahead. Lisa is guessing a Bible. I'm going with this is scaring the crap out of me, Judy. The next two questions after this are Ted Bundy. Well, thank you, Anna. Question again. Richard Chase, the vampire of Sacramento, when being interviewed in prison by the FBI and the state police, what did he reach into his coat pocket to retrieve? A Bible. B, a cigarette. C, cooked macaroni and cheese. Or D, a cooked corn dog? What did he reach into his coat pocket to retrieve when being interviewed by the FBI and the state police while in prison? Because maybe he was born again in prison. I'm glad they're not playing for money. So, Richard Chase, the vampire Sacramento, when being interviewed by the state police and the FBI, reached into his coat pocket to retrieve what? Cooked macaroni and cheese. The correct answer is C, cooked macaroni and cheese. he had taken it from the mess hall, put it in his coat pocket, and was eating it while talking to them about his crimes. Cooked macaroni and cheese. All right, the next two questions are about Ted Bundy. So the first one, where are Ted Bundy's ashes spread? Where's Ted Bundy's ashes spread? First one, the option is A, a Piggly Wiggly store parking lot in Dallas, Texas. B, in the Cascade Mountains. C, the University of Miami campus. Or D, a dumpster behind the prison. Where are Ted Bundy's ashes spread? A Piggly Wiggly store in Dallas, Texas. B, Cascade Mountains. C, the University of Miami campus. Or D, a dumpster behind the prison. Where are Ted Bundy's ashes spread? The Cascades run from Washington State down into Oregon. So if you're guessing, B, Cascades, Cascades go from Washington to Oregon. There's the Rocky Mountains here. Here's the Cascades, and I'm in between them. So the weather pattern comes like this. It goes over the top of the Cascades, and it doesn't get a chance to dive back down into the valley before it hits the Rockies. So the weather pattern goes up over the top of the mountain and then down over the Rockies. So I live in the desert. Well, it's a semi-desert. Then we got B, Cascade Mountains, his old hunting ground. B, D, I'd say D, B, should be D. I'm still close. B, in the Cascade Mountains. Mr. Frosty's going with B, the Cascade Mountains. B seems to be popular. Another guess for me because I know nothing. You probably know a lot. Lisa is just may not know these questions. Wonder how many missing bodies are in the Cascades? That's a good question. It's a good question. There's a lot of people that disappear from state parks every year over in North Korea. So I know that where the Cascades are here near me. It's it's a lot of recreation, especially during the winter time, snowmobiling, snowshoeing. mountain exploration. There are a lot of people who go out into the Cascades around here for gold panning. Rubies. There's a part of the Cascades that where they find rubies a lot. So Cascades, there's also Sasquatch, yeah. Disneyland over North Korea, yeah. Okay, where are Ted Bundy's ashes spread? Well, if I can't remember who said that should be D, but it's not. It's in the Cascade Mountains. In the Cascade Mountains is where Ted Bundy's ashes were spread. Brian James, and it makes sense. That's in the mountains. I don't know. I thought the Piggly Wiggly store parking lot in Dallas, Texas sounded good, or a dumpster behind the prison. I thought both of those looked good places for Ted Bundy. Okay, so the next question: who flew across the United States to retrieve Ted Bundy's ashes, then flew back across the United States to spread those ashes? Who flew across the United States to get his ashes and then flew back across the United States to spread his ashes? Elizabeth, I think you're going to pronounce Klopfer, his girlfriend. B, the Robert Capel. Probably Capel is the way I wrote it. I think it's Capel. Is B, or Detective Catherine McChesky, or D, a super fan of Ted Bundy? Who flew across the United States to retrieve his ashes and then flew back across the United States to actually spread his ashes? His girlfriend, Detective Robert Capel, Detective Kathleen McChesney, or a super fan? Who flew across the United States to get them and then flew back to actually spread them? A, B, C, or D? I bet David Paladin knows of some missing in the Cascades. Why would they do that? How shameful, disgusting. Down the toilet? Yeah, that'd be an option for them. A, D, C, D, D, B. Flew across the United States to retrieve his ashes and then flew back with his ashes to the Cascades, because we just learned that from the question before, to spread his ashes. Girlfriend, Robert Capel, detective, or Kathleen McChesney, detective, or a super fan of his? That'd be costly to fly all the way across the United States to get some stupid ashes and then fly back. Diane Johnson, how are you? I'm doing fine. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the stream. Now the Cascades are cursed. Yeah, it helped catch the Green River Killer, that's for sure. I have another one. It's like a bonus question, but I don't think I'm gonna ask it tonight on Bundy. Yeah, that's gonna be on the next one. But I'm gonna get to Rodney Alec Colley, or whatever the hell his name is. I'll read that one, even though it's not on the list for tonight. Rudy Giuliani. Good to see you. It's been a minute. Well, I'm here. I haven't gone anywhere. So, who flew across the United States to retrieve Ted Bundy's ashes and then flew back across the United States to spread them? The answer is Detective Robert Kapil. B. Robert actually went on. I think he got like 3 PhDs, or maybe it was 2 PhDs, and he had a long career in law enforcement. But the reason why he did that to spread his ashes is because he promised, Ted Bundy that he would do it in cooperation with him helping law enforcement, and he was never friends with him. He just promised that he would, help him, spread his ashes afterwards. So he kept his end of the bargain. I'd know them all if it was Lori Cox. If it was all about Lori Cox, Lori Vallow, Cox, Dumbbell, whatever the hell name she's going by now. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. Bundy, yikes, he went to Utah, right where I'm from. Wow. Did not know that. All right, next one is Robert Hansen, the Butcher Baker Killer. He loved to kidnap, torture, rape his victims. What did he do with them afterwards? Robert Hansen, the Butcher Baker Killer. Kidnapped, raped, and tortured his victims, but then what? A, he made them dress up like, his wife or idea of a wife. B, he released them into the Alaska wilderness to hunt them down. C, he'd make them write a letter confessing to crimes that they hadn't committed. Or D, he made them watch videos of confessions that he recorded from other victims. Robert Hansen, the Butcher Baker Killer, loved to kidnap, torture, rape his victims. What did he do with them afterwards? Make them dress up like his wife or ideal wife, release them into the Alaska wilderness and then hunt them down. C, make them write a letter of confession to crimes they hadn't committed. D, make them watch videos from other victims confessing to crimes. We got B, Lori is pushed out till August. And I don't know, Juju. Don't know if they're even going to get it in August. I really do. If there was there probably is a sports bookie out there, in Vegas that's taking bets on it. But if I had to place money on it, I don't think they're going to go to trial on these charges until after this year. They're just going to continue it, file another motion. It just doesn't seem like the case is going anywhere. It just keeps on dragging on forever. I just want justice for JJ and Ty Lee and for Tammy and for, Joseph. I think Joseph, she destroyed him and made him penniless, and all he wanted to do was spend time with his daughter. They made up accusations about that he was molesting her just so she could try to win the custody. And then poor Charles. I mean, that just screams a setup to me. You know wow, how convenient that your brother is there with a loaded pistol. To take care of Charles. How many other bodies are attached to him that we just don't know about yet? I've been asking that question all along. I'm almost certain there's probably more besides JJ and Tylee, Tammy, Charles, and Joseph. I mean, I think there's more than just the five. Agreed. Has Tammy's autopsy come out yet? No. Well, they finished it, but they're not releasing the information. Whatever was found in the autopsy that they performed after they exhumed her body, uh, they haven't released. They haven't said anything about it at all. So yeah. I mean, if you even the notes from the detectives there on the scene, you've all seen the body cam footage, of Alex Cox, that day, and he says that he was hit in the back of the head with a bat. The officer, the first responder to it, you see him with a napkin, kind of like this, like he's patting the back of his head where there's supposedly an injury from a bat. He said he saw no wounds. He required no medical attention for an injury caused by a bat. If someone as strong as Charles hit him with a baseball bat, an aluminum baseball bat, he'd have a good sized knot and probably need some medical attention. He said he saw nothing, no injury on the back of his head at all. But yet, for some strange reason, they bought his story to it, of self-defense. But the butcher baker, Robert Hansen, loved to torture, kidnap, rape his victims, and do what with them? The correct answer is B, as in boy. Again, he released them out into the Alaska wilderness so he could hunt them down and kill them that way. It was a sport to him. Yeah. And he played baseball and softball for quite a few years. Even if he wasn't a baseball player, softball player, I mean, you hit somebody in the back of the head with a baseball bat, you're going to leave a mark. You're going to do some damage. Okay, next question. According to the FBI, how many active serial killers are there in the United States of America? According to the FBI, how many active serial killers are there in the United States? A, 10, B, 100, C, 1,000, or D, 10,000? How many active serial killers are in the United States? Sorry about coughing. Excuse me. How many serial killers, according to the FBI, are there in the United States? 10, 100, 1,000, or 10,000? Why isn't there ever justice for the children, Rykard? It doesn't seem like there is in a lot of cases, but I don't know. The one thing that I'll tell you, everybody, the one thing that worries me the most about Lori Vallow and Chad Dumbbell is they had an absolute drop dead day that they saw as the world coming to an end. And I really worry that what's going to happen if they drag this out as that date comes up again. Yeah, sure. The first one went by, and the world didn't end for them, but the next one's coming up. At that date in the year again. If it comes up, is Lori and Chad Dumbbell, are they going to take their lives in prison? Or in jail, I mean. Very well could happen. And then what kind of justice do we get for JJ and for Ty Lee? D, B, 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 C, B, B. How many serial killers or inactive serial killers are in the United States, according to the FBI? All right. So, according to the FBI, how many serial killers are in the United States who are active? The correct answer is B as in boy, 100. There are, according to the FBI, there are 100 active serial killers in the United States. 100. That's scary. They could be anywhere. Go back. Next question. Ed Gein, the serial killer. Ed Gein once worked at what? Ed Gein once worked as what? A police officer. B, a school bus driver. C, a babysitter. Or D, a mentor for at-risk youth. Ed Gein once worked as a what? A police officer, a school bus driver, a babysitter, or a mentor for at-risk youth. Ed Gein. Blue Bella, sorry if I missed you earlier. Welcome. I hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great week. But Ed Gein once worked as what? A police officer, a school bus driver, a babysitter, or a mentor for at-risk youth. C, B, C, B, B, B. Well, Brooks, they do definitely believe that most of the serial killers, if not all of them, are very able to move around within the country. Long haul truck drivers, sales reps, people who can travel and move amongst the, society, and be gone from any one place for a long period of time and nobody notice that they're gone because it fits with the pattern of employment. I'm doing good, Blue Bella. I hope you are as well. Diana Bowman is going with babysitter. We got BBB, B&B from Judy and Reichardt. Ooh, B. I just picked that because Nasty Ariel Castro was one. B is a school bus driver, is your guess. Ed Gein, the serial killer, once worked as what? The correct answer is C. C. Ed Gein was once a babysitter. I'm sorry, but any of those would freak me the hell out knowing that Ed Gein did that. And a police officer, a school bus driver, a babysitter, or a mentor for at-risk youth. Yeah, he was a babysitter. Ed Gein. Freaky. So next one. Dennis Rader, the BTK killer. What was his role at his church? What was Dennis Rader's role at his church? A, he was the pastor. B, he was the president. C, he was the treasurer. Or D, he was head of the choir. What was Dennis Rader's job at his church? Pastor, president, treasurer, or head of the choir? Jen, are you talking about Dennis Rader? No. Ed Gein? All you know is deacon? That would be, a deacon would be basically the same as a pastor. My deacon went to prison. What is a deacon? It's a position within the Catholic Church. So it's basically a pastor. Dennis Rader, what was his position within the church? Pastor, A, pastor, B, president, C, treasurer, or D, head of the choir? Dennis Rader, the bind, torture, kill serial killer. What was his position within his church? Pastor, president, treasurer, or head of the choir? Diana? Ed Gein drove. He drove a pickup truck. White Chevy, older model. It was like a 60s pickup truck. I don't know if he could drive a car, but he definitely drove a truck. A deacon is one who seats people at the church. Isn't that his job? I don't think you have the deacon correct. I mean, maybe in some churches the deacon does seat people. I know at my church that we have, seating people at within the church, is usually left up to like the altar boys. Bring people in, and left, right, sit them down, help them, to their seats. Um, they have other people that probably in an official capacity to do it. Maybe deacons do. I know my deacon used to actually do the sermon at my church, but not anymore. Now he's doing it from prison. So Dennis Rader, what was his position at his church? The correct answer is B. He was the president of his church. What? I missed something there. What scares me more about BTK? Worked at ADT. That's why I have a gun. Yeah, yeah. He used that as access um, later on. Okay, so this is going to be the last one for the night, ladies and gentlemen. Rodney Alaclay, the dating game killer, sued the state of California while he was on death row. Do you pronounce it Kala? Rodney Alacala? I don't know. My penmanship was really bad on like some of these. So I'm not sure if that's a C or an L or whatever. But Rodney Alacala, whatever, the dating game killer. He sued the state of California while he was on death row. What was the reason for him suing the state of California? A, he got a bad haircut. B, there was too little radio reception in his cell. C, lack of hot water. Or D, for a civil rights violation because his packages were shipped from fans that shipped him packages were shipped UPS and not the United States Postal Service. What was his reason for suing the state of California while he was on death row? Hi, Inner Peace. Just the last question there. Brooks and Smith are going with D so far. Yes. Rodney Alacall, or whatever how it's supposed to be. The dating game killer. I'm sorry. I should have used better penmanship when I wrote it down. Sued the state of California while he was on death row. For what reason? A, he got a bad haircut. B, too little radio reception in his cell. C, lack of hot water. Or D, over a civil rights violation because his packages from fans were shipped to United UPS instead of the United States Postal Service. Yeah, I checked it out. His date turned him down. But he was picked. He was picked. He won. He won the dating game. I always remember. I was never like a. I don't remember the dating game so much. I mean, I kind of have memories of it a little bit, but I mean, I remember more of like Chuck Woolery and the Love Connection back in 2 and 2. You know, and I remember that a lot more. Yeah, he was on the dating game during his active killing spree. He was actively killing at that time that he was on the dating game. So if she would have went out with him, she could have been the next victim. Looked like a werewolf. Oh, for that time period, he didn't look that bad. What did he sue the state of California over? The correct answer is D, as in dog, for a civil rights violation for them using the UPS over the United States Post Office. He sued them for a civil rights violation. They tossed it, but he sued them anyways while he was on death row. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all had fun tonight with those trivia questions. I've got maybe 10 or 12 more that that are ready for next Sunday. So I hope you will join me all again next Sunday for the next True Crime Trivia Night. So how do you feel you did? Did you not know a lot of them? Did you know some of them? Did you know all of them? Were you like Mr. Frosty on some of them and knew them before I even finished reading them? Felt like it a couple of times. Well, thank you, Juju. I appreciate that. My son started watching ASMR videos. I don't know how he found it, but he found them on YouTube. And I walk in the living room and I'm like, is he watching TV with the volume off? No, the volume's on. And this lady was just standing there and going down from the top of the screen to the bottom of the screen. And then she's just like, I'm like, all right, I guess. And I looked at the lady's channel and she has like 300,000 subscribers. I'm like, what? 300,000 subscribers. People want to tune in for that. Maybe I'm doing the wrong thing. Maybe that's what I need to be doing. Just AMSR. Talk really low. Wave my fingers at the camera. You ruled? Your son is adorable. Yeah, he is. No, you suck at this game, Inner Peace. Oh, I'm sorry. That was fun. Thanks, Will. At about 60, so no PhD. Well, thank you, Judy. I'm glad you all had fun. I could do it. Obviously, we've been on for 3.5 hours right now. You enjoyed it, Bluebell? It's cool. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you again, everyone, for joining me tonight for the True Crime Trivia. And I hope that everyone has an excellent week and you're able to stay safe, you and your families out there. And again, if you haven't had a chance to check out Shannon's mom's cooking channel, you put in the search box at the top, and of the box up at the top there is what I'm talking about. Search box. You can find it. But everyone, have a great week ahead. Until next week, stay safe.